The Xbox Activision acquisition will close, and we have a new date, but even the date isn't really accurate. Well, the crucial July 18th deadline has come, and it has gone, and Microsoft did not pay the breakup fee to Activision. Instead, they announced today both companies jointly are extending the deadline. So Microsoft and Activision are not walking away from this deal. They are extending the deadline by quite a bit, but even the date that they announced today isn't fully accurate. So let's just dive into the details here of what was announced. So Lulu here, who I believe is the chief legal counsel on the Activision side, she has been leading the communication effort for this whole deal. She says, update on the Activision Blizzard merger with Microsoft agreement deadline extended. The recent decision in the US and approvals in 40 countries all validate that the deal is good for competition, players, and the future of gaming. Given the regulatory approvals and the company's confidence that the CMA now recognizes that the remedies available will meet the concerns in the UK, the Activision Blizzard Microsoft board of directors have agreed effectively to extend the date until October 18th. Now, the 18th might sound quite a bit arbitrary, but we'll talk about that here in a second. It says we're confident in our next steps to get the deal done quickly. First off, you might say the 18th again. We just did July 18th. Why October 18th? Well, actually, Activision Blizzard just reported their earnings, so it's likely tied to their earnings release that they're going to get it done by that date. However, the October 18th, I suspect it will actually probably get done before that, and I think Microsoft is actually a little bit confident that it will get done as well. And we know this because during the earnings release from Activision Blizzard, they updated the terms of the breakup fee. Now, if you remember, it was initially around $3 billion on July 18th, but that figure is changing. Activision is up in the ante and making Microsoft pay more dollars if for some reason, which none of us really expect this to happen, that Microsoft would walk away from the deal. So according to Activision's own financial earnings, it said on July 18, 2023, Activision Blizzard and Microsoft entered into agreement waiving certain rights to terminate the merger agreement if the merger has not been completed by October 18th of 2023. The terms of the agreement include an increase in the termination fee payable to Activision Blizzard from $3 billion to $3.5 billion. Now, this is the critical part. If the transaction is terminated after August 29, 2023, and to $4.5 billion if the transaction is terminated after September 15th of 2023. The agreement also includes amendments to Activision Blizzard's commercial Xbox agreements with Microsoft, valued up to $250 million each for the fiscal year. The agreement further enables Activision Blizzard to declare a one regular cash dividend for the fiscal year up to 99 cents per share, prior and not contingent upon the closing of the transaction, blah, 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 blah. Realistically, so there's two key dates in here. The August 29th date, which may sound familiar. This may sound familiar because this is the CMA date that we have all been waiting on. So Microsoft has effectively decided, look, we are not going to try to steamroll this effort by the CMA to block us. They feel like they're in position. They have good movement and momentum with the CMA. They just need a little bit more time, despite the fact that they're already 18 months in. What's another few weeks? And so realistically, this week, the UK, the Competition Appeal Tribunal agreed to allow Microsoft and CMA to effectively negotiate to close the deal in a future timeline. Now, that future date is August 29th, so Activision very smartly is tying some of this breakup fee and everything else to those dates, and so Microsoft does have an incentive to get it done effectively on August 29th. Now, it could happen earlier, right? The actual agreement between the CMA and the Microsoft could come prior to that, which we kind of expect. And so my expectation right now would be that on August 29th, once they get approval in the CMA, then things are done. The raising of the breakup fee really is potentially trying to incentivize Microsoft to do everything that they can to get this closed as quickly as possible. Not that they aren't already trying to do that. You got to remember, like, Microsoft needs to get this done because, again, they don't have any controlling interest in Activision until the check clears. So Microsoft can't say, go put this in Game Pass, go start making things ready for Game Pass, blah, blah, blah. They cannot do that. That's illegal in the US and abroad, and for many various reasons. But again, August 29th looks like the most plausible date, and if that falls apart for some reason, Microsoft effectively has until October 18th. Now, if it doesn't get done by October 18th, then there might be real concern that this thing is going to fall apart. I sincerely doubt that is going to happen. It looks like the only last hurdle is really the CMA, And it sounds like Microsoft and the CMA have effectively come to terms. And so, yeah. Other interesting things that I think are worth pointing out that came out of the Activision sort of deal today is, and I think this is just worth pointing out because of how big this Call of Duty is. Call of Duty, according to Activision, has 90 million monthly active users. Now, many of them are probably on mobile. I think I read a figure, and I cannot validate it, that it was around half are on mobile. Either way, once Microsoft does close this deal, their monthly active users, just including Call of Duty in their own stats, will jump by a figure of 90 million. That is a colossal amount of gamers that are logging in every single month to play Warzone in some capacity, or should I say Call of Duty in some capacity. I am one of them, although this last season update has been garbage. But either way, that just kind of shows you the scale that Call of Duty has here, and probably why it was the cornerstone of a lot of the arguments, although it probably wasn't the right mechanism, as we've learned, since up to 40 countries have now approved the transaction. So again, just showing off the scale that Microsoft will inherit once they get this done. However, I think myself and many other people see this October deadline date, and it was actually a bit shocking. I think Microsoft and Activision, for that matter, are taking a very conservative approach to this. I think both entities believe, based on the breakup fee, that August 29th is actually the date that they will get this done, meaning that by September, Microsoft will be able to start making maneuvers with the Activision platform or studios and everything else. But until then, obviously they can't. But by putting the 18th, that effectively gives them till their next quarter close, more than likely July, August, September, October. Yeah, 3 months, so that'll be a quarter. Look at me doing math on a video here. So that just really just sort of gives them a bit of breathing room. Again, September is, I think, the actual deadline based on that breakup fee. We will see. Phil Spencer and Brad Smith, not me, put out statements, but they're not all that notable. They say, look, we're happy to extend this. Of course they're happy. They're trying to get this through. I mean, you got to remember, for somebody like Phil Spencer, this is him effectively betting his career on an acquisition. You don't get to spend up to nearly $70 billion, and not, like, if this thing goes sideways, it would be the end of Phil Spencer. It would probably be the end of more than just Phil Spencer inside the world of Xbox. I bet that they would do some pretty drastic things if this does not pan out, because they're not quite betting the farm, as one might say, but they're betting pretty much the future of Xbox on this. And if they can't make something from this investment, then there's going to be some bad times ahead for Xbox. But we're not going to go down that route yet, because nothing is closed, nothing is done, and we can't speculate about what hasn't happened yet. So, as always, my friends, if you want to stay updated on everything happening in Xbox and beyond, make sure to keep it subscribed here, because the only BS on this channel is me.